Today I'm ranking every single Arrow title I have in my collection from the worst to the best. This is just my own personal ranking list, so whatever your favorite Arrow titles are, leave that in the comments below. But this is just going through the ones I had to put in order in some way, shape, or form. Now, most of these titles I actually like, so even if one of your favorites is towards the bottom of my list, no offense there. Once again, just my own personal ranking. Something had to get towards the bottom, something had to get at the top, just how it goes with a ranking list. But once again, if you are joining the channel for the first time and you love talking physical media and Arrow titles and all these different boutique labels, you're in the right spot. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. And of course, go ahead and mega smash that like button. That way you stay entertained and up to date on all future physical media topics. But let's go ahead and get into this ranking list. Right at the bottom, just going to say a little bit about each title as we go through them. We got Brain Damage. Oh my gosh, I only bought this one because it was super cheap on an Arrow sale. It was like $10. I'm like, what do I have to lose? Apparently, I had my time to lose because this movie was nonsense to me. It's one of the worst horror titles I've ever seen. It is such sea-level garbage. It is nonsense. It is cheaply filmed. There was nothing I really enjoyed about this movie, so it kind of gave me some brain damage. So unfortunately, it has to be at the bottom. All right, next up, we are going to have to get into this big chunky box set of Cold War creatures. Yes, you can see all the different 4 titles there, which are basically some B-level horror movies. Now, these movies are definitely a lot more watchable than Brain Damage, in my opinion. They're just very classic horror titles. They're okay, but once again, they're nothing super special that I want to go back and rewatch a whole bunch of times. But for the one-time viewing, most of them are fine. I actually did like the Iron Claw, like bird kaiju monster one. But once again, I just don't need to rewatch these ones. So even though they were okay one-time watches and they're in a decent enough box set, they still had to be towards the bottom of the list. All right, next up, we are going to have Jango. I know what you guys are saying out there. That might be the best Arrow release if you're just looking at the 4K quality, because the transfer here is gorgeous. It looks fantastic, so sharp, but to me, it's just not my cup of tea. I'm not a big Western fan, and then I'm not a big foreign language film fan. You combine both of those overall into this Italian spaghetti Western, well, once again, it's not going to be my cup of tea. But I actually think this is a good, solid release. The other 2 releases, I'm like, maybe could have done without. I am happy to have this one in the collection. I definitely like my one-time watch of it, but it's not my favorite Western of all time, right? I would still go back to the good, the bad, and the ugly. But it's solid for what it is. It has good special features and all that stuff. So, yep, Jango might be higher on most people's list. All right, next up, we got a big, chunky, beautiful box set here with Barbarella. And at first, I thought this was going to be like a Flash Gordon title, just with a woman hero character. And that's not really what it is. It is sci-fi and fantasy, but it's a nonsense plot. Nothing just works in here. It's very cheaply done. And really, there's no value to go and rewatch this movie for me. You're pretty much only seeing this movie to see Fonda, spinning around naked in space for a little bit. That's really the value there. But other than that, it just doesn't work for me. I mean, it's a cool box set. Like I said, it looks really nice on the shelf. I like the colors. I like the design. But just, not the one for me. All right, next up, we're going to have Pitch Black, another sci-fi title. I think it's much more watchable than Barbarella, though. It's fun. You got Vin Diesel in there, and, has its action moments. So once again, still a good, solid release. I might rewatch this one again from time to time, but it's just not like my favorite sci-fi action movie out there. All right, next up, we are going to have yes, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and this is a very classic Frankenstein story. You guys know Frankenstein. It's very closely related to the book, though. That's why it's called Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So I actually like that. So this is one that definitely intrigued me because, once again, more closer to the book storyline than what some of the other Frankenstein movies went with in their direction. So definitely very watchable. I enjoyed my one-time watch of this one. I might rewatch it every, maybe 4 or 5 years or so. So yeah, if you're in the mood for Frankenstein, here you go. But once again, I had to put these in some kind of order. So just because it's not my top favorite doesn't mean it's bad at all. Once again, very good, solid release. Like it's tough. It's tough to judge Arrow titles because a lot of them are just so good, and I really do pick out the ones that I think I'm gonna enjoy more. So yeah, it's just kind of picking between favorites here. Next up, we got Silent Running. I do like the Slippy on this one, so it does go a little bit higher on the list because I love a good slipcover. You got good special features in here, of course. It looks great, but it is kind of slow moving and really more atmospheric than anything. I like some ideas in there. It definitely gets at some kind of social commentary. I just wanted more from it. It doesn't go far enough for me. And this is a movie that needs some kind of action in it. You need a little bit more action moments. That way we keep the pace going. So yeah, but kind of slow and dragging moments. We had to put Silent Running lower on the list, but once again, still solid watches. Like I said, pretty much everything over Brain Damage, I did enjoy to some extent. All right, next up, we're going to have 12 Monkeys. Yes, you got Bruce Willis in this one. It's like a time travel, trippy, psychological thriller. To me, the plot was a little confusing to follow at certain points, but I love the special features here. You had like a full length documentary, which I really appreciated. Actually, I might like the documentary more than the movie. So definitely enjoyed that release for that. And you got your Slippy, of course, with it. But once again, just not one of my favorite sci-fi time travel movies. And I don't like a ton of time travel movies. You got to be really special, like a Back to the Future type of thing, for me to really like that plot device. But yeah, like I said, all good titles here so far, and they only get better as we are going up. So next up, you got to have Flatliners, another Slippy. So once again, the Slippies go a little bit higher up on this list because of that. It's a horror thriller kind of movie. You have a good cast in this one, right? Kevin Bacon, never go wrong with some bacon. There's some fun, trippy, dreamlike sequences. I like the idea of this movie probably more than it's executed. So it's solid, 80s movie. So I enjoyed it for what it was, and yeah. All right, next up, we're gonna have Dune, yes, the classic original one. You could see where they were trying to go with this one, with the sci-fi epic action. I do think the new Dune movies they've come out with are better than this one overall when you put them together, of course. But you know what? It is due to budget constraints during this time and them really trying to go for something. And yeah, it's Dune, right? It's kind of similar to Star Wars in a way, right? Star Wars took inspiration from Dune, so you can definitely see that there. So overall, solid sci-fi action story. It's Dune. Well, what can we say right there? All right, next up, we are going to have Tremors, very fun horror title. You have these like sandworm monsters, picking up people, Kevin Bacon in there as well. Kevin Bacon and so much stuff, I guess. But it's just fun, dumb horror. Really enjoy this one. And you just want to turn your brain off and watch something kind of silly. You put on Tremors and you have a great time. And I like the design, the artwork there. So can't go wrong with that one. All right, next up, we are going to have Waterworld. One title I think is very underrated. I thought this one was a lot of fun, blockbuster action title. Kevin Costner in there. I just like the premise of the movie. Everything's mostly covered in water. You're right. They're searching for the last land that's there. So it's fun. The stunt work's really cool in this one. It turned into an awesome show at Universal Hollywood Studios. So I just have some good memories with this one overall. So yeah, you got to enjoy Waterworld. And it just looks so good. The 4K with the water elements just packed a punch. So really enjoy this one. I think it's underrated. All right, next up, we're going to have Flash, Masters of the Universe, right? Flash Gordon, of course. Really like this title. Totally 80s cheese, but just all the characters in this, the villains in here. It's just like tons of fantasy awesomeness. The music is great. There's just something to this one that when you put it on, you can't take your eyes off of it. Even like Ted, makes calls out to Flash Gordon, and it's just so fun. So really enjoy this one, and I would definitely rewatch this one a few more times, of course. All right, next up, we are going to have the Last House on the Left. Yes, the remake here. Wow, this horror title, when I watched it for the first time, oh my gosh, so many scenes that were just tough to watch. It's just like, oh my gosh, what the heck is happening here? But I thought there was moments in here that were really thrilling, kind of kept you on your toes, some twists and turns in here. So yeah, overall, it did what a horror movie needed to do. Definitely scared me. So yeah, the Last House on the Left, excellent. Special features were great in there. Yeah, just really like this one as a horror fan. All right, let's keep. I gotta organize these stacks as we go because there's just so many here. We don't want this tower of arrow amazingness to topple. All right, speaking of amazingness, we gotta have Mall Rats. Yes, really cool slip cover. I just love the design. The title there's excellent. Kevin Smith movie. But it's such a fun movie, some, silly humor in here, of course. You got some kind of satirical comedy as well. You have like the best Stan Lee cameo ever, so it gets bonus points for that. But yeah, I like Mallrats overall. It gave me a few laughs, and that's sometimes all you can ask for. So did really like that release. It looks so clean too, just with that design. All right, now we're getting into the next tower of disc over here, and these ones are like top of the top, amazing, just so good, so good, so hard to put these in order. But next up, we're gonna have Hugo. Yes, a Marty Scorsese title that I thought was just a love letter to filmmaking, especially towards the second half of the movie. But this is just one of the best 4K discs I've ever seen. It just looks stunning. It sounds great. It's interesting. I like the characters in here. So I really enjoyed this title. It's just, and the slipcover was cool with it as well. So yeah, Hugo, I think that was a really good title. Maybe even underrated now. I don't know if anybody still talks about that one, but it was a really good release. All right, next up, we are going into a box set here. Yes, we got the Arrow Video Store kind of collection. Well, those are the titles there. And I know there's that fancier box set one out there, but I was happy to get the cheaper one. Take up a little bit less space on the shelf. But I actually do like these movies. I thought most of them were pretty good, even though they were lower budget films. I thought they were darn entertaining, a lot of them. I mean, Robot Jocks, come on, that was so good. Dolls, it was just, I really enjoyed some of the movies in here. So I was really impressed that Arrow put out a box set like this and gave us different options on it too. Fancier option, cheaper option. Just really love that. So yeah, such a cool design box set from Arrow. All right, next up, we are going to have a steel book this time. Yeah, Arrow doesn't do a ton of steel books, but when they do, I do like a good steel book. You got RoboCop here, just an awesome, I guess, brutal action R-rated movie. So good, so many quotable lines in there, just really entertaining. Yeah, I just really like this steel book too. Steel books just go a little bit higher on this list for me because I like collecting those. But yeah, really cool colors too. I love the shine to it all. Yeah, really enjoyed RoboCop here. All right, next up we got some chunky box sets now. Okay, we gotta have Warriors come out and play. Yes, this release did come to play. Really love the design overall. Something about these chunky box sets, but really cool release. They had the different editions of the movie. And yeah, it was definitely a wild ride, I could say, for the first time watch of this one. But yeah, I enjoyed seeing all these different characters and their costumes and just see them clash. Yeah, so The Warriors, excellent movie. Really good release, packed with tons of special features, looks good on the shelf. So happy to have that one. And then next up, we are going to another Chucky box. An American Werewolf in London, one of the best horror titles of all time. Just the practical effect work in here is stunning. The werewolf transformation is wild. Oh, it just looks so good. Yeah, this movie is just one of the best, like I said, horror monster movies of all time, in my opinion. The artwork was just designed beautifully. Special features there just look so great. Just, oh my gosh, complete package there. All right, next up, and I have to reach for these, right? Let's see, let's get it. Ooh, we got Wild Things. Yes, oh my gosh. Talk about an all-star cast here. We got what Nev Campbell in there. We have Matt Dillon and just so many great cast members here. But this was a wild thriller, kept me guessing the whole time. Just when I thought it was going in one direction, it twists and turns to another direction. So just such a great entertainment value, and this box set was just beautiful looking. I mean, they really packed this one in. Oh, so good looking. They gave you different options for this movie too. I believe there was a steelbook edition out there and different things you could get. So Wild Things I just thought was a really good, solid release over there. Okay, ooh, now we're getting into the tops here. The top of the toppies. Oh yeah, it's a nice box set, so I'll be careful with this gem. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy. I forgot how heavy the Conan Chronicles box set is with Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. You got Arnold and they're just, oh my gosh, great set of movies, fantasy, action, adventure. I really like both of the titles. I think the sequel's really good too. First one's a little bit more brutal because it's rated R, but both I think are really entertaining. I love the supporting cast in here as well. Special features are great. Also, the branching technology the dish uses to seamlessly go to different editions of the movie, I thought was cool how they did that. So you got all the editions here. I mean, it just looks so nice. I mean, look at that, right? You got your big booklets in there. Just so many goodies. You got the movies. All just look so good. Sound so good. You know that has to be towards the top of everybody's list, right? But that is not number one. We are going to get to what I consider to be the best release they have ever done, and just my absolute personal favorite, of course. And we got to have that true romance, if you know me. Oh, I love this movie, written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by Tony Scott. You know, you're working with a masterpiece right there. This movie just gets better every time I watch. You talk about an all-star cast here. I mean, the list just goes on. Patricia Arquette, Christian Slater, Gary Oldman in there. It's just, I mean, look at all those names up there. Just amazing cast members in this one. Wildly entertaining kind of thriller action story, but you have romance in the heart of it. And the romance is such a delight in here. Good chemistry. And yeah, I love how this movie ends too. So there's great exciting moments in here, keeps a good pace, has a good beginning, has a good end, beautiful special features, but all the things they packed in here with different posters and booklets and a still book, right? You don't always get a still book in their chunky box sets. I wish they would do more box set steelbook combos. I don't know why they don't, but it was just so cool to get something like that from Arrow. And oh, like I said, just a wonderful movie, the best packaging they've ever done. I love this release. It is so good. So there we go. Those were all the Arrow titles in my collection at the moment of this recording. I can't wait to pick up more in these sale times here. But there we go. I gotta hear from you guys out there. What are your ranking lists for your Arrow titles in your collection? What do you think of my choices there? Like I said, it was tough to put these together because really it's putting them in order of good to great movies. So yeah, so tough to do something like that with such an amazing boutique label like Arrow. But once again, if you're joining the channel for the first time, you watch the content consistently, go ahead, take that extra step, click that subscribe button, turn on a notification bell so you are alerted when a new physical media ranking video posts. Of course, take that little extra step too to click that like button. Definitely helps the YouTube algorithm, and I thank you for doing that. But have a great day watching and talking the movies. And then also, I'll probably leave some ranking videos in the description or let you kind of choose one next that pops up. Maybe you have another boutique label ranking criterion, maybe. Go ahead and mega smash that next video right now. And thank you so much, my mega membership supporters. If you love talking and collecting movies, consider joining the Mega League of Film Fans through memberships to support content creation while gaining access to perks like shoutouts, exclusive videos, and future topic choices.